So I'm going to start by showing this photo here, and I want you all to look at it and reflect on how you feel. Raise your hand if this image looks somehow familiar to you. Now, raise your hand if it brings up some complex emotions, like fear or pure hopelessness. Thank you. So I was 6 years old when I first saw this image in my elementary school classroom. I was 6 when I learned that my future is being burned to the ground and may be unlivable. As I grew up and learned more about fossil fuels, deforestation, habitat loss, sea level rise, a fire was ignited inside of me. Why was I the one that had to bear the consequences of the older generation's mistakes? Why was my future compromised for their pockets? Meanwhile, I was reading the news, the Paris Agreement, the UN Sustainable Development Goals. These climate deals kept getting delayed and delayed. Target goals kept getting pushed back. I was confused and felt like I was swimming in uncharted waters, where even the grown-ups didn't really know what to do. Turns out, I wasn't the only one who felt like this. In fact, up to 60% of youth experience this thing called climate anxiety. For those who don't know, climate anxiety is our emotional response to these alarming headlines that seem to appear more and more frequently these days. It's the helplessness, the fear, the anger that we feel when we realize our futures are looking bleak. But as painful as these feelings may be, it's important to recognize that we're human. We're hardwired to react to threats that pose danger to our livelihoods. It's simply a natural reaction. When these feelings arise, it means that you care. You care for the world, you care for the people around you, you care for your children's futures. That ability to care is one of the most powerful tools humanity has to combat the climate crisis. So when I was in 8th grade, I realized I could not take it any longer. I was done drowning in fear and uncertainty while watching my future crumble to pieces. I was done waiting for the people in power to flip the switch. So I joined my local activism group. Not only did I find a group of incredibly passionate youth just like me, but I learned how to transform my climate anxiety into a powerful instrument of change. Just a couple months in, I found myself on city council floors speaking to representatives before me, demanding the support of Senate Bill 1137. The bill would mandate a 3,200-foot setback zone between oil drilling sites and residential communities. And although Governor Newsom signed onto it in 2022, Big Oil spent millions on a referendum to prevent it from going into effect. So in response to this, my group and I went from city to city to cultivate support, hosted and tabled at numerous events, and stayed on late-night calls multiple times throughout the week. And after months and months of pure dedication, we did it. In June of 2024, Big Oil dropped their referendum. Once I heard the news, the amount of pride I felt was indescribable. I mean, this was the first small step I had ever made in my life to preserve my future. But on top of that, I had realized I discovered a profoundly influential thing: hope. Some see hope as just something we desperately cling on to avoid facing the real problem. Others see hope as a tool for breaking down barriers and fuel for creating change. When I first joined Youth Feed Oil, I immediately noticed that my fellow youth had hope. They had hope despite having such an immense pressure to inherit a burning planet. And because they had hope, they didn't stand on the sidelines. They acted. Hope was an active force that propelled them forward. And seeing that is what continues to inspire me each and every day. So how can we channel our hope into action? Number 1, acknowledge your anxiety. Remember that this feeling is not a weakness. It's a sign that you're awake to the challenges that we face. When you're simply willing to accept this feeling as a part of you and have conversations about it with your peers, you begin to realize that the weight of hopelessness becomes just a bit lighter. And then you begin to breathe again. And in that breath, you'll find room for clarity, for connection, and for communication within your community. The transformation from fear into action is only possible when you're able to come to terms with your feelings. Number 2, now that you're energized with this newfound relief, start by breaking the barrier between people and government. City councils around the county have regular meetings where constituents can show up and make comments about issues they see in their community. Whether you're urging your elected official to support a climate bill or start a sustainable initiative through policy, this is a very easy way you can voice for change in your community. All you need to do is go to your city council's website and go to meeting agendas. Number 3, reduce your carbon footprint. So many people don't realize the extent of their carbon emissions from simply living their daily lives. I mean, when you think you're just buying a cheap pair of jeans from a local H&M, you're in fact supporting an industry that produces 50,000 tons of emissions annually. When you think you're just stocking up on laundry detergent, you're contributing to the over 250 million jugs that are disposed of annually. It's hard to remain environmentally conscious when you see what effects such mundane choices have on the environment. But they really don't have to. By purchasing one secondhand garment from a thrift store instead of a new one, the world can reduce their carbon emissions by 1 billion tons this next year. By going to a refill store for your detergent instead of a new Target, you can save that jug from polluting the landfills. It's these small, day-to-day choices that can go such a long way when you're simply willing to go that extra mile and really challenge the status quo. And lastly, the best treatment to our climate anxiety: get involved. There are numerous grassroots organizations around the county that are making momentous strides in the climate movement through education, policy, and outreach. And whether you have experience in public advocacy or even just coming with passion alone, I really urge you to take that first step into the light and get involved. It's easy to be overwhelmed by such small acts when faced by the seemingly insurmountable challenge. But that's the problem. We picture the climate crisis as this worldwide catastrophe that only government officials have the power to reverse, when, in fact, it's not. My fellow youth in the things they have accomplished using just their voices has proven that change can start from within. If all 8 billion people in the planet simply let their voices be heard, let their anger turn into action, think about the change that we can create, the walls we can break down, the power we can cultivate, the future we can build for our children. This is what hope looks like. So I'm going to go back to this photo here, and I want you all to take away this. Hope is not the piece of ice we fiercely cling on to stay afloat while we watch the rest of the world melt away. Hope is a fire inside all of us that we can use to make change possible. Fellow Earthlings, there is a light ahead. All we need to do is chase it. Thank you.